Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Newton Town Council regular meeting for July 13th, 2026. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a roll call, please.
Mr. Coos.
Here.
Mrs. Biglio.
Here.
Mrs. LaCroix.
Here.
Mrs. Teets.
Here.
Mayor Dix.
Here. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the two newspapers of record and posted on the town's website and the official bulletin board. First up, we have a presentation tonight from our good friend over at the Sussex County Community College, Dr. Corey Homer.
Excellent. All right, thank you, everyone.
Sit next to Tom.
Sure, yeah, I'm gonna do one of these. Sure.
Thank
you.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Thank you. Excellent. So I just want to thank everybody for allowing me a few minutes. So I'm just coming up on my first full year as permanent president of the college. So what I want to do is always make sure that we're keeping our neighbors in touch with what our plans are for the future. There should be no surprises from anybody, especially Newton of all people in the county. So what I want to do tonight is just give you 5-10 minutes, just run through some of the things that have happened this last year and what's coming up this next year. So in case somebody's like, oh, what's going up on the hill? You at least have an answer and you can tell them. All right. So if you want to go to the next one. So you can skip through that one. You know all about that fun stuff. So big news is you might have saw it on the press releases. So we just received our last 8-year accreditation, which is a very big deal for the college and the community overall. So that means we continue our accreditation through 2034 now. So 8 more years and then they get to worry about it again, or we get to worry about it again. But it's a long process, 18 to 24 months, about 10,000 pages of documentation, several hundred documents. It's a pretty heavy lift. So that's good news for the college. What's going to happen with this self-study, which is publicly available on our website, you can go in and see every single thing there is to know about the college, policy, procedures, etc., programming. That's going to lay the foundation for our next strategic plan that's coming up this next year that I'm hoping we'll have some Newton representation on that strategic planning process as well. The new academic programs, I won't bore you with some of the boring AAASs and all that. I'll do that with the high school students when I'm presenting to them. But on the recent program expansion, what you'll see is you probably saw news on the patient care technician expansion. So that launches officially this fall. The film and production certificates will be finally approved this summer. So that was in conjunction with our production studios locally here, Barnlight and a few others, Sussex County Film Commission. Every single program was revamped. The curriculum was intricate. And off of that, what we're doing is building 2 AI labs on campus, essentially to support that curriculum, all grant funded through the state of New Jersey. So it's a very nice program to get students right into the workforce. So that's exactly what we want to do. The GIS program's up and running. So that's a really popular program, especially for our civil engineers that want to be there. So our electrical line worker students, and there's other applications that you might not even think about, but that are finding good success in that GIS program. The entrepreneurship is the certificate that's launching this fall. We're coupling it with an entrepreneurship, and you'll hear about this a little bit later on, an entrepreneurship center. And the goal of that center is essentially to provide a hub for our small business community. My wife and I own a coffee shop, and when you get things up off the ground yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, there's filings and there's so much. And, if we can help our small business community here in Sussex County and get our students connected with them early on, connected with our professors, it makes a really great ecosystem for the town of Newton as well as the county overall. So we're looking at that coming up this fall as well, too. The sports management option is extremely popular. That's one of our fastest growing programs at the college. the HVAC and Kubota tractor training. Some of you saw that when you were over at the ribbon cutting. So the units will be finally delivered on the HVAC train system. So students in our building construction program learn HVAC, electrical, plumbing, roofing, masonry. So what we did is we developed courses in every single one of those. Because what happens is students come in with the mindset of, I'm going to be an electrician. Well, that works for 5 years, and then they end up coming back and saying, well, I actually don't like that. I want to do something else. So what's really great about that program is we've revamped it so you get exposure in every single one of the trades. So then you can find out really what you like before you jump in with both feet. So, and really good union pipelines there as well, too, that we've been working with. And then finally, a really exciting one and one that's near and dear to my heart is our new Career and Transition Studies program. You saw earlier this spring, we received a $1.25 million grant from the Department of Education to expand our program for adults with intellectual disabilities. So that program, I'm happy to say as of this morning, is at capacity already for the fall, and we have a waiting list. So we're actually going to be renovating more of the suite up there to expand more, to make more room for that program. What that does is that revamps that program where students integrate with our regular college population as an inclusive program. They hopefully at the end of the program will earn 30 college credits and be able to transfer to Georgian Court University and live on campus in the dormitories, same as any other student, because they have a similar program. So we back the programs in together so that they get that exposure. And then there's also an offshoot of that. If they don't want to transfer, they go right into the workforce. We have career counselors there with them working with ServSafe and a number of other certifications. All right. This I'm not going to run through every single one of them, but just wanted to make the public aware and their council. The expansion that we've seen on the CTE side has been great. And we've been expanding our programs nonstop to make more room. If any of you know Dean Jason Frug, I'm constantly checking fill rates, and whenever he sees my phone call, he just texts me back and says I'm upping the capacity or I'm adding another section. We get these reports every single morning as far as class fill rates and which classes are full, which ones aren't. We move rooms around, and right now we're at a really good problem where we're actually out of classroom space in a few blocks already. So you can't schedule another class on campus even if you wanted to. And most of you know how big that campus is, which is extremely impressive. So that's really great to see. And the one I'll draw attention to up here out of all of those will be, let me draw attention to electrical line worker. So that program is opened up another entire cohort. So we have 40 students coming through. And what we're going to do is expand that pole park. I believe that they'll probably come here at some point in Newton, but that'll be up on the hill. We're working with First Energy right now, who's planning to fund most of this work for the college, actually. We're going to move the electrical line worker park from Walk Hill Valley up on top of the hill by the old chapel in that open field up there, if you know. There's not much you can put up there because of the distance from the regular main campus, but a pole park is actually perfect because it's up in the woods, it's tucked away, they get to do their thing. So we're working on that with First Energy, and they've been a really great partner for the college on that. The athletics, I'll just make a note of that. The expansion has been fantastic there. We had our first national, in our first year of golf, actually, we sent our first 2 to nationals already. And they competed, they finished in the top 20, I believe, top 25 in the entire nation, which in Sussex County, golf is king, right? For some folks. So, and some of us pretend it's king. So, but that was really great to see. And so the demand for that has been so great. We're actually adding women's golf this coming year. So women's golf has been very big. And we're always trying to get our women's roster numbers up. So what we're doing is this coming year, we'll do it again. We do a female empowerment and athletics workshop, essentially, where we bring all the high school female athletes to campus, so about 200 student athletes, and we talk to them about nutrition and that you can balance academics and athletics. You know, as a psychologist, I always say, you know, the prefrontal cortexes are more developed in females around that time, where the male athletes tend to think, I'm going to the NFL, I'm going to go to the MLB. and not necessarily thinking jobs or thinking academics. So we're trying to show that we can balance both. And that was extremely successful last year. We're going to look for an expansion on that again. The housing with Centenary is through the roof. The numbers are way up there as well too. We're at capacity with about 120 again this year. That I just like to keep reminding folks. I believe that that's going to be a future national model. You're already seeing folks in New Jersey starting to catch up. You know, I saw a nice article the other day from a college that said, we're going to house 10 students in this private university. I said, oh, that's cute. That's great. You know, so not to, but I said 10 students is so manageable, but 120 by the time you paperwork, immunizations, clearances, and everything else, it's a huge process between the two colleges, and it's really great. So we're looking to expand that partnership, and we'll actually be looking at joint programming, joint even positions and operations in the future with Centenary University, keep costs low for everyone. So very similar to what you saw with the Warren partnership with the drone technology. I'm not building a drone program here when they have a world-renowned drone program there. So we're just giving a pipeline to our students there. And Dr. Austin's not building exercise science labs on his campus. So all his students are going to come to us. So we have that perfect partnership where we're not duplicating resources, we're keeping costs low for everyone, and we're giving students access. So this is the fun slide that a lot of folks like. This slide has made a few of us pull our hair out over the last year, but on the completed left-hand column, I'm not going to read through every one of them, but some of the big ones, most of you were at the ribbon cuttings for, so really great work on our capital facilities team. The archaeology lab is a nice small project, but a really meaningful project. They actually launched the Skylands Archaeological Association off of this. So now they're planning community digs, community archaeological digs coming this next summer, actually. They're working with the bin collection out of the Sterling Hill mine, and they're going to be doing a ribbon cutting open house in September. So, of course, you folks will be invited to that as well, too. Off of that as well, note dance studio at the bottom, and you might say, dance studio? Why do you do that? So, funny story, not funny story, but the college had a musical theater program for several years on the books, but never a place to actually do true dance as an academic program. So what we did is we refurbished an old classroom actually up in the E building and into a dance studio that's very high class. They do yoga in there, kinesthetics for exercise science. They do dance for musical theater. So that's a really great multi-use space. On the right-hand side, you'll see the PSTA outdoor shooting range is just about completed. We did another public meeting with the Hampton Township planning and community. We've done several, because it's big in their backyard, we want to be as many nice neighbors as we can with this project. So we've done multiple community workshops where we're able to tour folks through, answer every question that they have. So that's been really great. The chemistry lab expansion, the college getting college level chemistry facilities now, right? So there's no more one hood per lab anymore. So these are high tech, 6 to 8 hoods per lab, and they're going to be great on the expansion. That's another program that we've just ran out of space. So we needed to convert a computer lab into the chemistry lab to just keep up. The athletic field house that came to planning. So thank you folks for hearing that. And that'll be hopefully breaking ground this fall is our goal there. That's right in the front of the college where you see that old shed down there with the porta potties next to it. Our plan is to get rid of that at some point. But getting better use for our public that use our fields and our facilities constantly. If you drive past there on a weeknight during the fall, you'll see 300 people out there, no problem, right? And so we need to keep the facilities up with the demand in those programs, as well as our community that are coming and traveling 3 or 4 hours. And we're saying, here's a porta potty, and, so that's really great. The last one I'll note here, I mentioned that, is the outdoor fitness court. They're pouring the slab right now on that. So that, if you remember, that's a partnership with the Sussex County Division of Senior Services. That'll be an outdoor fitness court open to the public on the college's campus, similar to our fitness center being used for our senior services, and they come in and use our facilities. The outdoor fitness court will couple with a pickleball court and a tennis court eventually too up there on campus as well too, to make a nice little complex. Economic impact. So I always tell students on this one, and this is a good slide for all of us to keep keep saying over and over, every now and then I hear the college operations and the spending and the budgets like you all hear all the time. And so one of the things we wanted to launch immediately was an economic impact study of what this college means to this community. And what we did is we ran return on investment for every dollar invested in the college from the student, taxpayers, and society, and what that ROI is. And I had mentioned I always go to students in the high schools, and I tell them to ask their other colleges what the ROI is. There's significant investments in higher education, as you all know. And if you can't answer an ROI on a program, there's a problem. So we have no problem saying that our students will receive $5.70 for every dollar that's spent at the college and like in future earnings. And so that's a really great number for students and parents to hear. So exciting. I have 3 tours coming up open to the community. Each of you, you know my cell phone, most of you probably just give me a call if you're ever around campus and want to have a tour. But for the community, I would like to offer these tours every summer. I always think that, tours are meant for students but it's really a community college, right? And as a taxpayer in this county, nobody should ever say, what's going on up there? And never have that question answered or never feel that they're not invited to the campus other than sleigh riding, of course. So there's 3 dates coming up. The RSVP's right there, just so I know that somebody's coming. We have a few folks lined up already for the slots on Wednesday, but come, we'll take a tour, look at some of the new facilities, answer some questions folks have, and take a nice walk. So other than that, on the bottom left is our newsletter that comes out every month. Many of you are subscribed to that already. If not, you should subscribe, catch up with what's going on at the college. And if there's any questions, I can answer them, or you can always just send me an email or call me later.
I have a question, of course. I've always been interested in archaeology.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of archaeology exists in this county alone.
Yep.
Because of the Indians.
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, where are they concentrating?
Well, the archaeologists?
Archaeology?
Yeah, so a bit all over. Right now, they're working with Sterling Hill Mine in the Lenape tribe, actually, with some of the artifacts that are housed at the Sterling Hill Mine under the Sterling Hill Mine's ownership. So we're very keen on that, them maintaining ownership of that, not coming to the college and the college taking over that ownership of those artifacts. So they're looking at digs all around the county, but mainly up towards the Water Gap area.
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
I've been up there.
Yeah.
And burial mounds are up there, the
Yep.
old fort is up there.
There's a lot.
There's a
Yeah.
lot, the old summer campgrounds are up there for the Indians.
And
Yes.
like you said, I mean, in our area, you could literally walk out of your backyard, and you could find something, right, in any space in this county. So we're in a very fortunate area.
So Dr. Norman, just a couple comments.
Sure.
So first of all, thank you for coming to get these updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Matt and I had the benefit of doing a tour with you not
Yeah.
that long ago,
Yeah.
and that was super helpful as we're out in the
Great.
community, particularly because we live in the same
Absolutely.
municipality. But I even just learned a few more things tonight. So I think that these updates are always
Great.
great. And I feel like anytime I see you out on the street, I'm always learning something new. I feel like you've been the president for much longer than a year, so I can't imagine it's only been a year.
Me too.
Congratulations. Hopefully it's the next 50. You and your wife might not want to hear that, but I also want to thank you for your
Yeah.
continued partnership
Sure.
with the town.
Absolutely.
We just had an event up there this weekend,
Yeah.
and the grounds are beautiful,
Right.
and the college always takes care of us.
Right.
And so, it's great anytime that we can bring people onto the campus, because I think people, if they are not on the campus for any other natural
Yeah.
reasons, they then find out that there are great facilities here right in their backyard.
Gorgeous.
We like to frequent the culinary program. And I just, every time I go there for whatever, it's Friday morning or it's dinner or whatever, the students are fantastic. They're
That's great.
professional, they're smiling, they're happy to be there. And then certainly Michelle and I had lots of opportunities to come to their ribbon cuttings over the last
Yeah.
year or so, and others on the days of here. And it's just so exciting. I served on the foundation board many moons ago, and to see just even the change and the programs that we're
Thanks.
offering, it just shows, I think, a lot of commitment to being relevant to the workforce and those that are looking to go back to get education or options, right? We've
Absolutely.
oftentimes talked about how important it is we feel like a whole generation fell off from the trades, and now that they're getting so popular again, and as a career path for so many of our students. You know, Michelle's our rep to the high school. She certainly knows more than I do, but you know, there's such a natural progression from
Absolutely.
the students that live here in town or in the surrounding areas to go to a college. And it's just such a, for some people, keep promoting it, keep doing what you're doing, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people may have a reflection of the college from days gone
Yeah.
by, and don't realize all the programs and the value added. You know, I think about the entrepreneurship program that is starting this fall and the connection to small businesses. And I think about the great work that happens here in the town of Newton
absolutely.
around trying to be business friendly and tax abatement programs
Absolutely.
and storefronts available and all those types of things. So I know that Tom works closely with Kimberly and others around economic development and, you know, keeping inventories up to date. So if there's, I'm speaking on behalf of Tom maybe, but if there's any kind of synergies or partnerships
Sure,
there,
there's something.
I'm sure, even if it's, you know, coming in at the end of a, I know Tom's very open with his classes, but coming in at some point
Yeah.
and speaking about like starting a business in the town of Newton, right?
Absolutely.
About our
That's a
entrepreneurship
great idea.
program. Wanted to mention that. Let me see my other notes really quick. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I could talk to you for hours, because I just love everything that you've done up
Thank
there,
you.
but thank you for continuing to be a great partner to the town of
Absolutely,
Newton.
absolutely. And while you mentioned too the trades, just very briefly, a quick stat for everyone is we hear colleges and it's always 18, 19-year-olds. Our average age has crept up to 24 this year. We have about 900 students over the age of 25 now that are coming back to the workforce. So we're seeing an intrusion into the workforce with AI and different things that are forcing folks to move occupations. And what can you do to upskill really quickly and get back into the workforce? And that's what the college is doing with all their short-term training certificates. So while we always think about that 18, 19-year-old, you know, it's really like, you know, your 30, 40-year-old, 50-year-olds, you know, the average age of welding for a while there was 45, you know, so it's a really neat synergy. And so thank you for that, Helen.
I mean, and two, you think about the students who did their 4 years and tested out the workforce in their major of choice and then figured out, not so much what I thought it was going to be, right? 2 out of 3 of my kids aren't working careers that they actually
Yeah.
went to school with,
Yeah.
school for. So I would imagine that there's a fair amount of that shift as
Absolutely.
well.
There
Yeah,
is.
it's great.
Great.
So playing off or
Sure.
stemming off of that very quickly.
Yeah.
I believe it's called the Center for
Lifelong learning.
Learning.
Yep.
So how does that play into the programmatic expansions that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Center for Lifelong Learning kind of touches on everything. So what they do is working with the Center for Senior Services and Dean Nancy Gallo. They put together their program, as you know, for the semesters, right? That'll be coming out probably in a few weeks now. And with the programs, what they'll do is they'll take snippets of workshops from each of these areas, nothing major since it's a targeted audience for the Lifelong Learning Center. But they'll take smaller workshops, whether that's the culinary and then they couple it with a theater performance, or they're doing actually partnering with the New Jersey School of Conservation now. We're doing joint bird watching and joint poetry and joint, you know, so we're trying to connect with the community as much as possible and using that as a vehicle. So there's an opportunity there, and they also hold different things as long in terms of, you know, really down and dirty career resume workshops and things that folks might not have had exposure to early on.
So one of the things that I was thinking about with that offering is that, you know, we have a number of senior programs in town, the Primetime Seniors, and there's some
Yeah.
dedicated programs that our recreation department offers as well.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's been any partnership, you know, in the past between the Center for Lifelong Learning and our formal senior groups, but that might be an opportunity.
That might be enough.
We're also, I mean, you know, we are Newton, so we'll speak on Newton, but there are some other senior groups in surrounding municipalities as well. And
Yeah.
it might be you know, if you don't do heavy marketing in that area where you're looking for, you know, a greater pool, that might be a way to potentially.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm sure that we could do something if they haven't done already. And always note, and you just made me jog on the marketing side. Anything the town of Newton does, remember too that you can get free advertising on WRSK, our radio station, if you haven't already. So that is a huge listenership. You know, one more, I always joke that Sunday, when I took over the radio station about 8 years ago under my bailiwick and portfolio, and I said, you know, we can schedule updates on Sunday morning during polka hour, because who could possibly listen to polka hour on Sunday morning? Well, the Facebook exploded and I got blasted for polka hour. So no more updates during polka hour, but the listenership is really great there. And so we'd love to partner with the town and promote your activities as well.
Yeah, actually, we have a merchant on Spring Street that often plays the college radio station
Oh.
from his business out on the street.
That's great.
The record store.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You can hear it because you're walking by.
And just to kind of follow up with what Helen was saying, you know, I think although you've only been there a year, I think there's definitely a vibrancy with the college and, you know, in the high school students that I engage with, you know, at the squad, you know, the reputation almost of the college has definitely improved over since I was in high school.
Thanks.
You know, to keep up the good work because it's definitely on the up and up and people are tough.
Thanks. Working at it.
Yeah, I have all good things to say is, you know, when we go to these ribbon cutting ceremonies or you give us, you know, like this brief PowerPoint
Yeah.
presentation, it just helps when we're out in the community.
Absolutely.
And, you know, my nephew just graduated from high school within the last couple of years. So I still know a lot of the parents that are talking about their kids going off to college. And, you know, we'll get talking, you know, about
Yeah.
Sussex County. And I'm like, hey, you know, start there, go anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
that's me, you know. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I'm a product of Sussex County Community College, probably back in the beginning of time. As I told you, like where the old library and stuff was when I
Yeah,
was there.
absolutely.
You know, the Connor Green is like, was a parking lot and a very muddy dirt parking lot. And so just the improvements there and the things that you have done and like partnering, I think, with Thor Labs and Planet Networks, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just turning students like into these careers that, you know, is wonderful. And yeah, Dr. Picarillo from the high school has mentioned the partnership and stuff with the college and
Yeah.
how the students are able to, you know, do their half-day programs
Absolutely.
and getting degrees, you know, their senior year. And it's just awesome.
There's
So,
been a significant increase in that. The students that leave at like 10, at about 10:30 used to have the work co-op, and now you have this academic track on the college. So High Point's expansion, Newton's expansion. So it looks really good. And you know, and thanks, Michelle. I mean, each of you are our biggest recruiters, right, on the college. And when you know, I first came into this position, and we were trying to figure out the marketing, and I said, you know, it's Sussex County, right? There's nothing stronger than word of mouth in Sussex County, New Jersey. You can put anything you want on a billboard, it doesn't matter. You know, but what your neighbor thinks, that's what matters. And so I thank each of you for constantly helping us with that.
thank you.
Okay.
Anything else for?
I have a question, of course. The outdoor shooting range,
Yeah,
will that be open to the public?
not currently.
Not currently. Okay.
So it's strictly for law enforcement certification at this time. So the whole point of that is, because I get that question every now and then, the whole point of that shooting range is that our municipalities are taxed as it is with keeping officers here, and the budgets are always strapped in municipalities. And now we're sending them away to get certifications twice a year, and then covering their shifts back home doesn't make sense. You know, so that was the whole point and drive of that, was to bring things and keep them right here. That way you're not essentially taxing your local municipal police officers and things like that, or their budgets. So good.
I'll just jump in and say that you've been a breath of fresh air and how much I appreciate working with you.
Of course.
And if you ever want to create a center for public service, let me
Oh.
know.
That might be a good
You
idea.
know, guy who's good at curriculum development, that jump in on that if you ever want to do something nonprofit.
I think that's a great idea.
So
Yeah, we've been partnering with the chamber a lot on doing different programs for the nonprofit community. We did a grant writing workshop with them, and that was about 20 folks attended that. Then we just did an AI workshop on just like AI exposure to some of these nonprofits so they know how to use it, not be afraid of it. And that had another good following. So that's something that's definitely in the future of our planning. So
Sounds like a good workshop for the town of Newton to have, an AI workshop.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Homer. I appreciate you
Absolutely.
coming out. I think I'm gonna speak real fast just because everybody else
Yeah.
says. I think that it's exciting to see what you've done up there. I know it's only been a year that you've been in the position, but it seems like longer with the kind of renaissance that's going on up there. It's great to hear you, talk about all the individual paths and partnerships that you're creating rather than kind of just trying to self-insulate yourself up
Yep.
there. You're just trying to,
Absolutely.
expand every which way and just get the best for the students and
That's it.
the population. So
Yeah.
it's real exciting to see,
Right.
and just keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And anything you need from us, we're always happy to
Oh, I
partner.
know.
So
Absolutely.
And
Especially.
you should just sign on the dotted line that you're gonna stay at least another 5 years and not have some big university take.
Trust me, I'm very happy here.
So, really quick,
Yeah.
besides Centenary, who do you still have reciprocity agreements with, the 4-year news?
Yeah, so the Lampet Law, we have reciprocity with any public state 4-year college. But what we do beyond that is we just did a full slew of articulation agreements with William Patterson where everyone transfers seamlessly and the student and the credits don't transfer in as elective credits anymore. That's such a scam that these 4 years play, and it gets me fired up sometimes. And so, so we work through curriculum in every single program because I also hate that it feels like a setup as a first generation student. It feels like a setup where, well, this program goes here, but not this program because they don't want that program, but only half of this like it feels crazy to me. So we revamped everything on William Patterson. We're working on Montclair right now on a full revamp on Montclair State University, which Jonathan Copel, the president there, is fully bought in. Conversations with Rutgers University are going very well, and NJIT for our STEM-related fields are going very well on those expansions. So that's the direction where we're going. We're going to start with those 4-year colleges, and then back into the private schools as well too. So there's opportunities there.
Great.
All right.
do you mind
Yeah.
hanging around a little bit for when we do our open to the public in case anybody has any questions that they would like answered?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Very good.
Thanks.
Next up, we have the approval of minutes from the June 22nd, 2026 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 22nd, 2026 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion from Councilman Teets and a second from Deputy Mayor Diglio. Roll call.
Mr. Coos?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mrs. Teets?
Yes.
And Mayor Dixon.
Abstain. All right. At this point in the meeting, the town council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard, speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 3 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments so it may be properly reflected in the minutes. Council may choose to comment after the entire public portion is concluded. Please identify yourself and spell your last name for the record. Do we have any members of the public wishing to comment?
No raised hand.
No raised hands. All right. We'll close that portion of the meeting. You're really excited.
Thank you.
Thanks, Court.
All right. Next up, then we'll move on to council and manager reports. Mr. Russo.
Thanks, Mayor. Just first, congratulations to JP on his nuptials. Congratulations. I want to congratulate one Barry Lane for winning the house decorating contest for July 4th. That was a job well done. Friendly reminder, the World Soccer Championship game watch party will be held Sunday, July 19th, 3 p.m. at Memory Park. Still looking for volunteers and attendees, so please sign up or reach out to us to let us know you're attending or if you would like to volunteer. Shirts are done and ready to go. Some pool facts for the council and the public. We've had 104 kids do swim lessons. So far, revenue 1 month, $51,000 plus. So we're ahead of schedule, and people check in 6,393. And Terry indicates 72 garage sale permits for the upcoming garage sale. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. Councilmember Coos,
Nothing this time. Thank you.
Councilwoman LaFois.
Thank you, Mayor. I put my notes right. I attended the 4th of July festivities, for a while up at the pool. It was great to see so many people. Thank you to Uncle Sam for coming out. Michelle, I know you accompanied him as his assistant. Appreciate that. The decorations look nice. Thanks to the DPW guys that were working the grills. Over 500 check-ins on each day, I believe, and on the 4th of July, there were about 50 people that were lined up before the gates opened. So it's a beautiful day. A few members of my family, including myself, spent the day at the Newton Pool yesterday, enjoying as attendees. We had a beautiful day, and just kind of anecdotally listening to people commenting on the wonderful facilities. There were people there yesterday from Clifton and from far away.
We've had Bayonne, we've had Brooklyn, they're coming from all over the region. They are just coming.
And a couple of people I, of course, talked to yesterday, they are coming because, and I quote, "The facilities up here are cleaner and nicer than the ones in the big cities." That was her quote, not mine. That it was affordable, that the staff is great, and that in some of the lake communities that are having a hard time finding lifeguards, they don't necessarily feel comfortable going to those facilities without lifeguards, bringing their children, the young children, so on and so forth. So they're spent a lot of time talking to somebody from Franklin yesterday. Like I said, a lot of out of county people too. And the one thing I will say that I heard both yesterday and then also on the 4th is the disappointment in our inability to take electronic payments. So I know we've talked about this before. I know this is not a big surprise to anybody. I don't know whether it's Venmo, it's an extension of what we're already doing in town hall, or with some of our accounts, our credit card accounts, but particularly at a pool, people are bringing their sunscreen, sometimes a snack, and are hoping to make sure that their children are in pool appropriate diapers and clothing. So a lot of times they're not bringing cash, or they're trying to pay with their phone, or whatever the case may be. I did also observe yesterday a lot of Uber Eats deliveries, and even the owner of Dominic's delivering himself, because there were just a lot of orders that are coming in. So again, not sure what that would take to create an electronic payment process, but it looks like we are already checking people in using a computer system. Tom Ferry, I don't know what there might be some objections to, but if there's something that we can do to take some sort of electronic payments up there, I think that would make particularly the people that are coming from out of town, who might be coming for the first time and are also trying to pay. Like I saw people leaving yesterday because they were trying to pay, and then couldn't pay electronically. I will also say there was somebody who's been attending for several years, didn't know that I was on the council, but was wondering if I knew why Newton residents get in free and don't have to pay. So I thought it was an amazing opportunity, quite frankly, to just talk to people about how our Newton residents, taxpayers, are all paying for the amenity year round through their taxes. And we did a full kind of financial assessment based on other fees for using that amenity, and we're able to provide this as a benefit. And then I told her that she could move to the town of Newton, and she goes, I've actually thought about that. So, just some of my observations about being at the pool a couple times in the last couple of weeks. Just a great facility. And despite all the heat that we took several years ago, I'm just proud of that amenity that we have, and know that it's worth it. I know that we also have a leak up there in the baby pool, the kiddie pool. And so on the 4th of July, I think is when the leak sprung. And I know that it's going to create, I think we have to dig up some concrete to get that fixed, trace it back. So yesterday, now a week later, it's green because it's not being treated. So the little kids thought that it was cool that we had a green pool, but a lot of the adults that were using the seating around it were kind of like, doesn't look so great. Yeah.
It's like the pool at the Lincoln Memorial. Too soon? Too soon?
Too soon. So I just wanted to, just some of my observations, take it for what it's.
Just on that note, if I can interrupt,
Yes.
just the pool will open tomorrow at 12:30 for the public. So that the leak detection company can come out between 8 AM and noon.
See,
Yep.
perfect. Look at, ask me, shall receive. That's great. And then, Saturday night, I attended, the first concert of our two-part concert series up at the college. The Yacht Club
Yacht Rock Gold Experience.
Yacht Rock Gold Experience did a great job. Michelle joined us up there with Kimberly and a lot of, a few staff, but we had about 300 people. It was a lovely evening. It was a beautiful night. I know our first responders, our new first aid squad was there with 2 rigs and the DPW guys, and just people are up dancing, kids were running around. It's just a good time. I know that's something that we provide, and I just encourage people to come out. We're gonna have the second one, and it's going to be
Journey.
Journey's Street Band.
Frontiers,
Here, right?
yes.
Yeah.
World's greatest journeys.
Um,
Journey through.
and I was told on Saturday night that that is being perfectly timed with Journey's final once again final tour,
Yeah,
right?
we did that on purpose.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured. So it's great. So the concert for yes, okay. Economic Development Committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow night has been canceled. So don't go to that. Just wanted to recognize our police department. There have been a lot of articles and Tap Into about their collaborative efforts with other law enforcement organizations. Partnering with recent investigations leading to a number of arrests, getting drugs off our street, making our streets safer. So it's always nice when we have great publicity about the work of our departments. I was able to attend our recently opened Pickle Thai restaurant across the street from the high school. He is an enthusiastic business owner, has a large menu, is really grateful. He specifically called out the resource that Kimberly has been to him in opening his business. And so I think he's going to be doing a formal ribbon cutting soon there. But just a nice family to have met and get dinner from them twice now. And then I know that we're aware of this, but because the deadline's coming up, so as of January 19th, the state of New Jersey passed laws that said all e-bike riders in New Jersey must have a license, a valid driver's license, register their e-bike and carry insurance and be in compliance by July 19th. So that's coming up in just 6 days. I know Matt and I had a separate conversation about this briefly, but Tom wanted to follow up to see if there was anything that we needed to do with our ordinance, which supersedes which. Do we need to do an update? Does ours get negated? Anything?
Eric's office was gonna double check for us.
We were asked to look into it. We are in the process of looking.
Okay. And like I said, the state is mandating compliance by July 19th. And last but certainly not least, congratulations, Councilman Coos, on your nuptials. May you have a long, healthy and happy marriage. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilman Pitts.
I'll just add a couple of things. Congratulations to Michelle. I always say her name the wrong way, so I usually just call her Michelle E. but-
Esther Merrick.
Yes.
Yes.
On her selection as the municipal court administrator, and congratulations to Kathy Quinn on her upcoming retirement. I know she's still here. And as Helen alluded to, with the police department being extremely busy and, partnering with other towns and agencies, and another successful drone deployment the other day that safely and quickly found a missing juvenile. And again, that was multiple agencies working together, but Detective Eric Soroka arrived on scene, deployed the drone, and within a few minutes was able to locate. So great news there. Right before I came here, I was watching the news, and they were doing a story on drones detecting the sharks and everything in the water, making it safer for swimmers so that they can, see the drones before they get close to the beach line. I'm going there tomorrow, so I'll let you know how that works out. I was going to ask Chief Finkel if I could take the drone, but I'm thinking he won't let me. And then just great job by the pool, like $51,000 in revenue so far. Like I say, get the Visa machine or whatever it's gonna take, because that 51,000 could be 55,000 if people were able to use that. And I missed the last school board meeting, and the next school board meeting is next Tuesday. And I think that is all, so thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor David, sorry.
Okay, first, I'd like to thank Deb Danielson for all her efforts in obtaining the 86,000 recycling grant. I think I've got that number correct. I did see her at recycling, and she did advise me that she intends to spend part of the money on 30-gallon recycling containers for the homeowners in the town, which I think is a great idea. And plans for the Taste of Newton are ongoing. We have approximately 20 restaurants signed up, and we are nowhere near done with that. The band has been booked, and we are now looking at the possibility of booking a DJ, because it's going to be the entire street from where the theater is to Moran. So we want to have music on both ends. And so far, the restaurants are very excited about being able to be right in front of their own place of business. So things are going well. And that's basically all I have to say.
All right, thank you. I think everybody really hit every point, so I don't want to belabor anything else, so we'll just move on. Next up, we'll move on to ordinances. We have a second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2026-13. Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,600,500 for various capital improvements in and by the town of Newton in the county of Sussex, New Jersey, and authorizing issuance of $1,161,864.79 bonds or notes of the town of Newton for financing part of the appropriation. I will open the hearing to the public. All right. Seeing none, I will close the hearing to the public, and I will take a motion to act on the ordinance.
I'll make the motion to act on ordinance 2026-13.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman LaFois, a second from Councilwoman Teets. Roll call.
Mr. Coos,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes.
Mrs. Teets,
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois,
Yes.
Mayor Dixon.
Yes. Next is ordinance 2026-14, bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,218,000 for various water and sewer improvements in and by the town of Newton in the county of Sussex, New Jersey, and authorizing issuance of $1,159,500 bonds or notes of the town of Newton for financing part of the appropriation. I will open that hearing to the public. All right. See, we have one raised hand.
Yeah.
Mr. Fahey, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, council. Just a quick question on this bond ordinance for the water. On March 23rd, 2026, we bonded ordinance 1026, $3 million for various water main replacements. And that same night, we also bonded for another $3 million for water meter replacements. And that was back in March. Now tonight, we have another bond ordinance for 1.2 million, which is, I looked at it, some of it is definitely needed and relevant, but I just have a question for item number 2 under it. It's almost $500,000 to replace a water main replacement. So I'm just curious why that wasn't planned for in the $3 million we previously bonded back in March, because it was a blanketed $3 million various water main replacements. So that's my question for this ordinance.
Mr. Ferry?
So I forget what the first one is. There's definitely, it says various, but there are exact streets, which this one wasn't included. This one's a problem child from what I understand, because there's a lot of hard rock So that's why I think that they put this one separate. And those other two ordinances for 3 million and 3 million, each one of those is going to be $2 million, $4 million in principal forgiveness. The remainder is going to be 75% of a 0% loan, which means that the town only has to pick up $500,000, which we could just bond for. So it sounds like a lot, but we have $4 million in grant money covering those.
Yeah, and this was already predetermined that we were putting this in the capital, which we all discussed and the council approved. So it wasn't something to go in those other or that other ordinance or those other ordinances. This was already predetermined that this was part of our capital for 2026.
And Tom, just Tom, just to remind or reiterate for the public's edification that we need to do the bond ordinance and we need to do the introductions. We need to adopt these in order to then apply for the loan forgiveness and to go through the project and so on and so forth. So it's one step required before we can get the loan forgiveness. In this case, the $4 million in loan forgiveness and or the grants to support the project.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just as Mr. Ferry alluded to, I have had conversations with some of the DPW workers specifically regarding New Hampshire Street. I spoke with one of the residents, I think last year, maybe the year that I was the mayor. There was a concern when they were doing the gas line replacements. And for this street in particular, I mean, a number of streets across town, but in this street in particular, I think when the water mains were installed, whenever they were installed, a lot of that, the known lines are just unknown. Mapping it of the entire system does not exist because there's been so much patchwork over the years and lost institutional knowledge from the 1800s when the water system was evolved, that some of this is buried through hard rock, and it is a very unique street in terms of replacing this. So whether or not that went into isolating this separately or the delay because the road was also resurfaced or was going to be resurfaced after the water main has changed in order to do this, that may have adjusted the timing. But the principal forgiveness is another very valid and important point to acknowledge here because while it does look like multi-million-dollar projects going on here, it is functional grant money that we are going to have principally forgiven.
Yeah, and the other challenge with this project is the fact that we have to do a temporary main above ground while this project is going on because of the rock structure that they're going to hit doing the upgrade. So it's a complicated, overdue project. That's why it was separated out from the other ones because it's its own unique project. And obviously it has to go out to bid, to et cetera, but it's an important project.
Mayor, seeing no other comments, I'll offer ordinance 2026-14.
I'll second ordinance 2026-14.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman LaFois, a second from Councilman Teets. Roll call.
Mr. Coos,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes.
Mrs. Teets,
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois,
Yes.
Mayor Digley. Mayor Dixon, sorry.
Yes.
I got you last week.
Next up is introduction to ordinance 2026-15. An ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 213 of the Town Code of the Town of Newton, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, entitled Property Maintenance by adding a new Article 6 establishing the Property Maintenance Board of Appeals and amending Chapter 100, Section 100-21 to update the appeal fee reference. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2026-15.
I'll second.
A motion from Deputy Mayor Diglio, a second from Councilman LaFois. Roll call.
Mr. Coos,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois,
Yes.
Mrs. Teets,
Yes.
Mayor Dixon.
Yes.
And the public hearing on the above ordinance will be held on Monday, August 10th at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard.
All right, next up is the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the town council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Mr. Russo?
Yes, Mayor, 205 approves the adoption of the community energy plan that we worked on for quite some time. 206 is submitting a grant application for Patterson Avenue and Patterson Place project. 207 awards engineering to PS&S for High Street Pump Station PLC replacement. 208, formal appointment of Michelle Estremera, CMCA, as municipal court administrator when Kathy retires. Swearing in will be August 10th. Resolution 209, we have a credit to a water and sewer utility account. 210 is authorized award disclosure contract for Wilco Air Conditioning, Refrigeration, Heating. 211 is the water heater replacement at the Newton Pool, emergency authorization. 212 is the Morris County Co-op for various streets, 2026. 213 awards bid 2617 for the Newton Recycle Center dumpster pads. 214 is Chapter 159 for the 2026 Neighborhood Preservation Grant, 125,000. 215 is bills and vouchers. 216 is the bid award 2618 for improvements to English Alley, which is jointly funded between NPP funds and Parking Authority.
Thank you. Is there any resolution anyone wishes to remove, discuss? All right, seeing none, then I'll take a motion.
I will offer the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilwoman Laflaw, a second from Councilwoman Teets. Roll call.
Mr. Coos,
Abstaining from check number 16154. Yes, otherwise.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes, but I must abstain on resolution 206, 2026.
Mrs. LaFois,
Yes.
Mrs. Teets,
Yes, with the exception of abstaining from check number 16079.
Mayor Dixon.
Yes. All right, next up is we're gonna open the meeting to the public. Any member of the public wishes to comment?
Saying no.
All right, seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting and we'll move on. We have no discussion, so we will move on to any additional council and manager comments.
Yes, Mayor, if you don't mind, I had distributed through Kat the information about tax abatement program in the downtown. We've only had 3 properties that were granted abatements in the history of the program. The initial implementation was ordinance 2011-15. It's for the historic district. Scott did a memo on this for your edification, and I'm just curious if the council wants me to work with Eric's office to update the ordinance and put it on for the August meeting, or if we should just let the current ordinance sunset this month and not do any action going forward since it's been limited in its utilization. It's a council decision, but I'm looking for direction if you've had a chance to look at the memo. That's it.
Thank you.
So my opinion, having been around when this was first created, is that, I always express disappointment that more properties don't take advantage of the tax abatement program, but I think that having it on the books gives us another opportunity to say that we are friendly to the restoration of those buildings, that we're friendly to businesses opening, that there are these incentives that exist. I mean, obviously, we can't make people take avail of the opportunity, but at least to have it on the books, if it's not, other than doing the update, if it's not costing us anything, I would prefer to have the opportunity exist rather than not, and then have a question as to like why, or why wouldn't we, or would you consider? Just my initial thoughts.
So I would just be a little cautious saying that it doesn't cost us anything because it could potentially cost us if there is overutilization.
For sure.
So one of the questions that I had coming into this was, back when it was created or, across its lifespan, has there been marketing? Are businesses aware that this option even exists? And my intuition is that they probably just are unaware that this is the program that the town has. It's I don't know if it's part of
The adoption, I send a memo and the ordinance to all the properties.
So I mean, like
One time.
2011,
Yeah, you know what I mean? So in 2021.
the street has almost
So
flipped.
it's been said
Yeah,
twice,
well,
right? Was it first time was in,
But yeah, the properties in the historic get the initial, hey, this is here.
Right.
And then
And the other piece of it is, I'd be curious because we have so many absentee, landlords within the property ownership on that street, is whether or not, the property owners aren't necessarily as interested in taking advantage of it. But, if the businesses or the tenants themselves were aware of it, they could then maybe, forward it back to the property owners to have a discussion about this, and then maybe the tenants would be willing to take on some of the work, or,
Yeah.
whatever. But if the tenants were aware of this as an option, it might just be another pathway to have the conversation. But it's a double-edged sword there. If you do that, does that then increase the number of abatements that we're giving out to a negative position? So,
Sure.
I'm not opposed to having it on the books, but if we look at this and want to have it, I think it's only fair that they're aware of it. But again, there's a double-edged sword argument there.
So to be fair, I'm always going to be a proponent of, being able to promote more, right? I think that you can't overtell people enough on different things. And it's true, it's probably been a while since it has been a while since we've sent the communication. But I wonder too, JP, if notifying the business owners as opposed to just the property owners might incentivize them to maybe work, concurrently with the
Right.
property owners to do some sort of improvements. And yes, eventually it could cost us money, but I can recall a conversation when we looked at this and said, because there were some people at that time that were saying, oh, what could this cost us? Like, what's the total possible exposure?
Mhm.
And we said, wouldn't that be a nice problem to have? But the ROI on that would be these improvements to buildings that are old and would probably do well to have some of the improvements made to the structures,
So, and
So if we had more than three, we would probably be having a different discussion, assessing the ROI on that, but.
So one of the challenges that we have consistently encountered or discussed here is the storefront vacancies in non-marketed properties. And I'm wondering if there is some potential opportunity here where if this program is utilized by, say, one of those property owners in a situation like this, that we could carve out part of the ordinance to then almost require, or to create almost like a different definition of abandoned or vacancy within this specific program because money is being afforded, understanding that there's a state statute also guiding it. I don't know if we have any potential leverage in such a program to be a little more aggressive, I'll say, in dealing with the vacancies and stores that or properties that may take advantage of this program. And I'm looking at you for a response.
I think we'd have to talk to Scott about whether or not we're getting approached. If you notice his memo, it's not that there aren't properties that haven't applied, it's just they don't qualify. And I think
Sure.
obviously to avoid the abandonment or vacant situation where you end up losing money because you have elected. But we'll talk to Scott, we'll talk to Tom, and we'll take a look at those both times.
Yeah, and Eric you had asked about Eric looking into the vacant ordinance, if you recall, so
Right.
if you want us to kind of tie them together, in one swoop, we can do that.
I was just gonna mention that, like, I will admit, I did not read the memo yet, but I know we did have a very vague conversation about.
Yep.
Our tendency is to we can't force, building owners to put a storefront in, but ignoring it isn't gonna help either, So. I don't know, I think,
Maybe it's time for the chamber and the town to have a conversation with our various business owners about storefront, et cetera.
Well, most of they meet the parameters of the ordinance. The council had the question about should the ordinance be tightened up? That's what we need to work with your office on. And then I think, we tie it into the discussion,
yeah,
so with this, but this will expire so that, it is what it is, but we don't have a line out the door. So if it lapses, it lapses. But if we can get something on for August or at least the first
Yeah.
meeting in September, that would be
So
helpful.
that's a good point. It's this current iteration could lapse and we can tie that then into a new potential with the storefronts.
Yeah,
And kind of revamp it and come up with a completely new ordinance.
with the stipulation though, that it is a state program,
Right.
so like JP said, like,
Correct.
there's certain parameters that there probably is not flexibility.
But since we don't have a line out the door, it's really not a big deal to kind of take that
Yeah.
overall look at it and just
Right.
let this one go. And then even if it ends up being that we just redo pretty much the exact same
Yeah.
thing, because we can't work anything else around it, at least we can take that look.
So then I think then the consensus is that we do want to keep the program in theory, but maybe make some
Yep.
updates and changes.
Yeah.
And Eric, I mean, I was thinking about this when Sandy was giving her update, but you just brought it up again. What is the current status of the chamber? Do we have an executive director?
I'm still the acting director.
Okay, and so is there one going to be soon named? I'm just thinking about before we start to, although that seems like a natural partnership, start to engage in further partnerships, wondering about the current status of it.
First, we have to continue to build up the funds in order to hire someone. And that's what we're working on now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think timing wise, it's gonna be more us, the town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which is fine, but no, we'll pull something together. I'll coordinate a meeting with Eric's office, Mayor. I'll see if maybe I can grab you,
Good. Very good.
Sandy, and we'll do a Zoom and we'll start the process
Yeah.
and see what we can.
Sounds good.
In the end, they might just be standalone as is, right? The vacancy might be
Right.
the maximum of what we can do, and this might be, and it might turn out to be that way, but we can check.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else have any?
Real quick, announcement for the public, Wednesday, July 22nd. Newton Medical Center is having a blood drive. There's a serious need and urgency for blood. So if you're able and willing, please donate often, especially next Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Sorry, I missed the last town one.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything?
I'll just add, I was trying to find the actual meeting timeframes, but I couldn't find it, but I believe last summer, June or July perhaps, was when we had all of the water and sewer professionals in discussing the status of all the projects, reviewing everything, and I believe that's when Suburban came in rather. And had the longer discussion of the potential through the infrastructure bank or the water bank specifically, and how we are targeting the infrastructure updates to capture as much of that funding as possible. And just with respect to Mr. Fakey's comment, I just wanted to see if we could figure out what timing that was. So if you wanted to go back and look at that meeting to get a better understanding of the background and how the water bank plays into this. That may be helpful, but I couldn't find it specifically.
That was in September.
Or September, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been September, because I was at.
Yeah, a quick look. I couldn't find it immediately, but only a couple minutes. But I found a number of reports back when we were using PSNS, PCI, and Suburban a little bit. Was the end of August, but that was just weekly reports.
I know what you're referring to because they had a really long spreadsheet and it had all the details,
Yeah.
and all the projects.
Sorry for this pause. I just want to see if I can find it too. That's a good point.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I looked quickly and I could not find it. But I might just not be here looking for the right keywords.
Although they did do a presentation at the Sussex County Economic Development.
Susquehanna League of Municipalities.
Yes, that's it. Sorry, I knew I was going to get the wrong one when I was looking at you. But yeah, they did an excellent presentation on all the projects that have been funded in for Newton and the all the grant funding and stuff.
I know those guys, and if you want a really good another update, I don't think they would come in a heartbeat.
I mean, that might not be a bad idea.
We'd never argue no on that.
Yeah.
We'll take another.
And there's a lot been going on since last year. I mean, things are moving very quick.
In fairness to the public, there are multi-million-dollar bond ordinances in place, so it's probably not a bad.
That'd be great if they could come in. Was that when we had all for the RFP?
Yeah, I think so. It was around that time.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when there was the one large master spreadsheet of all the projects, all the statuses, the funding.
I'll shoot for a September meeting, which is moved because of Taste of Newton, so 16th. I'll shoot for that one,
September 16th.
September 16th.
It's a Wednesday, annotate it on your calendar.
Yeah. In the meantime, I will find which meeting.
All right, very good. We have no executive session, so I will take a motion to adjourn at 8:11.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:11 PM.
And I will second.
I have a motion from Councilman LaFois, second from Councilman Teets. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.